welcome to Talent Matters, our beautiful podcast. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
So Heidi of Arthur Edward Recruitment.
Yep.
What's going on?
Well, it's busy. It's always busy. I'm just back from Bologna. We have a big trade fair, Cosmoprof, in Bologna. There's lots of stuff going on at work, lots of stuff going on with family, so it's a busy time.
Yeah.
Spring is a good time of year. The blossoms out, it's fun.
We're officially in spring now as well.
We are.
Aren't we?
Well,
so
Sunday.
It's early nights. I need early nights. Light nights.
Yeah.
That's what we like, which is really, really good. So, you are the owner of Arthur Edward Recruitment.
Mm-hmm.
We've known each other for 26 years.
I know, it's scary.
Met a long time ago. So we can actually go down memory lane a little bit on that. It'll be a benefit to us. People watching won't be interested in it at all, but I'd like to have that. I love a bit of nostalgia, so we'll go back to that if you like. But you, do you want to kind of just talk about Arthur Edward Recruitment, what you specialise in, how long you've been going, give it the little kind of like sales pitch of Arthur Edward?
Yeah, I can do that. So Arthur Edward is a specialist agency that works just in the cosmetic and beauty space, and my background is within that industry. So I spent over 15 years training and working within the cosmetic and beauty industry. And I'd had a very brief stint in recruitment where I'd relocated and changed jobs, worked in a high street recruiter, Noel, do you remember them? And didn't really get on that well with it. Office jobs and things like that didn't really suit me. And I'd gone back into beauty and worked in sales and marketing with beauty. I was selling products and working in contract manufacturing. Loved that. And then I had a baby and I was at a trade show, lots of trade shows in our industry. 5-day-old baby, not supposed to have babies at trade shows. I was exhausted and I was travelling a lot, selling internationally.
How were you like?
No, they didn't really do things like that back then.
Thing or whatever, I had one of those.
But I kind of thought I really need a job where I can do the nursery drop-off, and I wanted something still in sales, and thought I'd give recruitment a try, which is when we met.
Yeah.
I joined Dorchester in Henley.
Yes, yeah.
99, 2000, I worked with them.
Yeah.
And it was very different from the recruitment that I'd done before. It was niche. It was a sales specialist agency.
Yeah.
And they were great guys. If you remember John and Ian, they were really good fun. Yeah. So I then found a love of recruitment. I'd moved to another agency that was a FMCG specialist. That was great. I always enjoyed food and drink, working in those areas. But they wanted to pull on my background in cosmetics and set up a non-food FMCG role. So that was great. And then there was 9/11, and I'd not been with the agency very long. Things weren't happening as quickly as they should be. I wasn't hitting targets, so I was just kicked out. Yeah. And I think at that point I thought, well, what can I do? I want to still work in sales. I could have gone back to the industry, but I was enjoying recruitment. And I thought, do you know what? I'll just set up. And Arthur Ed was born, and that was 2002. So, 24 years ago now.
So quick.
It does indeed.
And the name?
Yeah, so the name
from your sons, right?
Yes, so Arthur, well remembered. Arthur is the middle name of my eldest son, Sam. He's my grandfather as well, Arthur. Yeah. Edward is my father-in-law, and it's the middle name of Joe, who now works in the business with us.
Oh, brilliant.
So that's where Arthur Edward came from.
Yeah.
There was a chap, Arthur Edward, who used to get a lot of our emails, and we built up quite a relationship with him. He used to get a few emails and always managed to pass them on. He kind of became a non-exec with us in the business. It was a nice father figure, taking an interest in what we did.
Brilliant. By name association, became involved in the business. That's great. So, I sometimes talk about like the olden days, and very few people actually remember the olden days because they did not.
The world's changed, hasn't it?
The world's
it really
changed so
has.
much. But I do reference the Dorchester website that we built.
Yeah, it was one of your first ones.
And it was one of the first sites that I had built, and it had, and I remember very, very clearly the kind of trend for websites at the time was every website had an intro, and for some people watching or listening, that's going to be completely alien. But a lot of websites, they would have an intro, like a trailer to a movie or whatever it was, and the Dorchester website had an intro, and John was really interested in his cars, wasn't he? He was
absolutely,
like a
they were both racing drivers.
Racing drivers.
Yeah.
So the website had an intro graphic, or it was using, I think it was using Flash at the time, whereby there was a car and the lights would go green, and the car would drive off, and as the car drove off into the distance, what came back was then the Dorchester website.
Yeah, the racing was a big part of what they did. We used to have a lot of fun events where we'd go and watch them race, and a lot of parties if they won. And it's interesting, literally this year, 2025, the beauty industry is embracing F1, which is really exciting because I love my racing, love cars, and I've always loved F1. And we have a couple of brands now who are supporting F1, so that's really exciting. Elemis is involved with the Jaguar build, and Charlotte Tilbury is getting involved with racing as well. So
we're going to see you in the pits.
Well, God, I hope so. That's one of my ambitions is to literally do the race year and travel to every circuit.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
That would be really, really noisy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you've been to a trade show these last few days.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. I mean, from what I saw on LinkedIn,
Cosmoprof is probably my favourite show. I've been going there for over 30 years. It's great fun. It's in Bologna, which is the food capital of Italy. So the pasta, the limoncello, everything is amazing. Yeah. And it's a show that kind of covers everything that we do. You have a bit of raw materials, a bit of packaging, the manufacturing, the brands, and even retailers there as well. So it shows the products all the way through the life cycle, which is where we recruit for. Yeah. So it's a great show, and it's huge. Everyone that goes there has no idea how big it is. You say to people, it's a really big show. Make sure you've got comfy shoes. And in 30 years, I don't think I've ever walked the whole show. It's just huge. And it's great. It's product, it's machinery, it's packaging, it's ingredients. And it's a great show.
And is that, I mean, that's a kind of networking extraordinaire, kind of like place to go.
I think
got clients there,
both clients and candidates. Everyone is there, and many of our clients have booths, and they're kind of there selling their wares. Yeah. And a lot of candidates are walking around. It's always that fine line between what we can do, because we're a supplier. They want to see us, so maybe we'll have dinner in the evening, but whilst they're on the booth, we know and have to respect that they're there to sell. So we kind of wave and say hi. If they have a bit of time, we'll have a chat. But everyone's in the same place, so people that we've known all these years will want to sit down and have a chat. So we'll pick up a job and take the details, look at all their new products, talk to the team, get to know them and what their plans are. So it's a good networking place.
And a good work trip to go to, better than some places you can go.
Coventry's another one for us. We go to Coventry every November.
You've got the two ends of the spectrum.
Still a great show, but not the best place.
Yeah.
And then next week we're off to Amsterdam for another show, which is all about ingredients. Yeah. So that's the Cosmetic show in Amsterdam this year.
One of the things what I've been fortunate enough to talk to people about is the different markets that people work in, and it's quite interesting. We typically just work with kind of broad umbrella of recruitment agencies, and they cover all the various different markets. And on the podcast we've had people from like an educational background, from a not-for-profit background, and it's really interesting to learn about the nuances within that particular industry. So, what you've done sales, recruitment, and things, but how is the health and beauty market kind of different to sales or others?
I think often it's dismissed. People think of girls in stores spraying you with fragrance. That's a tiny part of the industry, not really an area that we're that involved with. Yeah. But our industry is actually huge. Some reports that came out in 23 Some of them were talking about 9 billion, some of them were talking about 27 billion, employing over 500,000 people just in the UK.
Yeah.
Obviously it's global, we work globally as well, but it's a huge industry, and it covers so much. You might not see yourself as being big in cosmetics, but hopefully you used shampoo, deodorant, shower gel.
Don't have much call for shampoo these days.
No, sadly not. That's cosmetics. You know, the cosmetics industry isn't just about mascara and blusher.
Yes,
it's everything. Personal care, household, home fragrances, even vitamins and supplements. We cover all of that general well-being and cosmetics.
And the types, within that, the roles that you recruit for within that,
it's really varied. Yeah,
it's a whole industry.
Again, if you go back to, I don't want to pick on shampoo, looking at your head, Dave, but if you think most people know what shampoo is, and it involves so many things, from the ingredients, they might be natural plants or they might be chemicals, the manufacturing, the packaging, the branding, all of the design and everything that goes into selling that product. Then someone's got to sell it. You've got to put the marketing team together to promote that product, and you've got to buy it somewhere. Yeah. So all the way along that supply chain, there's an awful lot of jobs. Yeah. And we at our Thread would cover all of those jobs. So any role that's needed to produce a product, we would help with that, whether that's a technical role. So you're looking at people with chemistry degrees and a real interest in the ingredients and the technology that goes into making the product. Then in the manufacturing and the supply chain, it's all about speed to market, understanding the global issues. We've had problems with Suez Canal and different things on supply chain. Brexit, don't even get me talking about that. And then the marketing, it's all about developing those products, putting the products together. We have a term MPD, which stands for New Product Development, and that involves lots of different roles, pulling that innovation and the packaging and the branding all together to sell that product.
So it's quite it's quite self-contained in that respect.
It's quite incestuous, and we do find this, and again that's why we go to the events, because you get to know people and it's meeting up with your buddies and having some fun, but it's also knowing who's good, knowing where the companies are growing that talent and what companies are potentially not looking after the talent. They're the people that we would be recruiting from. But it is a huge industry and very passionate, very exciting industry.
Because wouldn't, I don't know if this is playing devil's advocate or not, but if you've got that whole kind of process that you just talked about, from manufacturing to,
concept to shelf, we call it.
Concept to shelf. That's really cool. If you've got a marketeer, for example, that marketeer could come from outside the industry, right?
They can, but it doesn't happen that much. We push and try and get people to flex their brief, but what we find, if it's, say, a skincare brand, they want people that have worked with skincare. If it's a hair care brand, they want someone that's worked with hair care. Yeah. We do move within FMCG. It is a part of FMCG. So someone that's worked with food and drinks, they might be very well suited, but it's also about the passion. And once you're in the industry, you don't tend to leave. We produce a salary survey every year, and I think it was 72% last year had been in the industry for 6 or more years. So it's a great industry. It's really lovely. Some super people, lots of innovation, lots of passion and creativity. And once you're in it, why would you then go and sell baked beans?
I like baked beans. Baked beans.
Well, nothing wrong with baked beans, but it's not quite the same as skincare.
I understand that, and I think that's quite. It's quite insightful, because again, I don't think I've spoken to too many people that kind of operate in an industry.
No, and I think that's what set us apart. But going back 23 years ago, I think there was one other recruiter. They're not around anymore, and we see people come and go. But in general, like when we met at Dorchester, it was a sales agency, and we had different divisions covering food, engineering, tech, internal sales, and everything was sales, and people moved around. then you have your finance, your tech and your marketing agencies.
Yeah.
But for me, it was never about recruitment. It was about the industry and the product. And still today, we don't think of ourselves as recruiters. We think of ourselves as consultants to the beauty industry, not as just, well, we're going to fill any old job.
And I guess that gives you that competitive advantage then, that the aforementioned kind of marketing role. If you would then probably see yourself as better placed if a skincare business is recruiting for a head of marketing, for example, you could have a marketing specialist that could place into that role, which they could feasibly do, of course. But as a industry expert, your understanding of what marketing experience is useful for that particular industry would give you a kind of head start, I guess, for those types of roles.
Absolutely. And I think that's where the longevity that we have has so much value, because we know people and we watch them. Obviously, we're doing recruitment day in, day out. We're talking to candidates all the time. We're not just, we've got one job, let's fill it. So we know who's good, we know who's bad, we know who's jumped about, we know what results people have had, and we've watched their careers develop. So if someone wants a marketing director for a skincare brand, we would have a dozen or more names immediately.
And you also then know the performance of the companies within that as well. You know whether or not.
And also whether it's a budget thing, a timing thing for the brand, or whether actually it's a person that hasn't performed that well, because you can't know that if you don't know the industry. Some people are unlucky; they join a company at a time where finances are tough and they have no budget to spend. And someone that didn't know what was going on would look and think, well, they actually haven't done a very good job. You're like, well, kind of their hands were tied. And they've done a really good job with what they had, in actual fact. So.
And you have that experience to know and be able to advise the clients to look at this person or not look at this person based on what it looks like. So from a business point of view, things are across the economic climate are pretty tough at the minute. I think we're into 31 or 32 or 33, I forget the number now, of consecutive reductions in job numbers available within the UK. Don't need to go into all the other kind of challenges that we've got right now, but a lot of people are finding it quite difficult, the market quite difficult. How have you been impacted, or haven't you? And just being stereotypical for a minute, assuming that people are always interested in the right shampoo or the right skincare when they're still buying that. I mean, is the beauty market doing well or not, or how's it being impacted? So
a few different things to cover there. We talk about the lipstick effect. You might have heard this saying.
No, I haven't.
So if times are tough, you can't go out and buy a big purchase, but you can still buy a lipstick. So that's what the lipstick effect is. So we still want a little treat. We still want that feel good. So as an industry, generally, we're okay. As you say, people still have to wash. What you see is a change in who and what they're buying. And you get the polarisation that we're getting in the world generally. We have some lovely, very upmarket brands, and we have some very budget brands that are producing some great products. And then all of the middle market is struggling a bit. So we're not completely outside of any problems, but we tend to struggle less when there's a recession and when there are problems, because people are still buying. We're getting redundancies. So some of the big guys, when there's changes and there's some sales, so Boots have been up for sale recently, that's all gone through. So they wanted to up the profits, so they've cut down their headcount. Estee Lauder have made some big changes around the world, cut down their headcount again. But then you have challenger brands coming up. You might have heard of some of them, like the Charlotte Tilburys, that have been growing recently.
I've just realised how massively out of my depth I am with all of these brands.
So, yeah, maybe we should look at some more men's brands. Do you know Bulldog? Bulldog's an exciting brand. That's kind of come up and been sold. Yeah. The guys that sold that have now launched a dental brand, a toothbrush and toothpaste brand called Waken. So there's always changes. And I think this is it, that because people like newness and people want to try something, and people are always looking for something that's going to make them look good and feel good, then they're always wanting to try and buy a product. There's an awful lot at the moment in the teen space. There's a great brand called Indu that's really growing at the moment. Another super one, dear friend of mine, Sam Farmer, which is a unisex brand that's doing really well. And there's just always something, and people want to try something. Innovation is always there. Yeah. So how are we finding it? Generally, it's a little quieter than it should be, and it's been steady but not going crazy. But we as a business are not looking to double our growth every 6 months. You know, we're a steady, solid company. Yeah. We need enough to keep busy, but we certainly have seen some competitors come and go, but I think that's always going to happen because people think recruitment's easy. Yeah. People think the beauty industry is easy and glamorous, and it's really not. It's hard work.
Like most things, isn't it? If you think it's, some people make things look really easy, and you go, well, that's easy.
When you're good at something.
Nothing's really that easy.
No.
Especially if the rewards are high.
Blood, sweat, and tears. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it doesn't happen, and I can I can see that. And I think a lot of businesses are also have struggled a little bit, kind of post COVID. The kind of the
it's a whole other debate, isn't it? Flexibility and the way that people are feeling about themselves and the world in general. We were always, as a company, very flexible. We were already working a 4-day week. We still do that today. It's amazing. I wish the whole world did it. I think it might come. Yeah. Probably not in my lifetime, but I hope it does. Yeah. The work from home, IT was the big player that did it for years. They've always had people over the world people working remotely. You didn't see it in our industry. Everyone was in the office. Yeah. And it's really polarised at the moment. A lot of the companies are pulling back, wanting people in the office. Most candidates don't want it, and people have relocated, and they don't or can't get to the office as easily. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure where it's going to end up. I think the smaller companies that offer the flexibility are attracting a lot of talent. The bigger companies that are pushing to get people back are definitely missing out on talent. Yeah. But I don't know where it's going to end up.
It's it's 5 years now since COVID. I mean, that's gone in a flash. Yeah. And if you look at the way the world, or just sticking on the country, how everything has changed. People, as you said, people move to the.
But it's the technology, isn't it? We used to years ago physically sit down and interview someone. We always wanted to do that. We still try and do that, but Teams and everything is there. Why do you need to do it? We always have recruited globally. We wouldn't jump on a plane, fly to Sydney to do one interview. Yeah. It just wouldn't be feasible. Yeah. So we were always using things like Skype, and now everyone's using Teams. We find first interviews still tend to be with Teams, and then a second interview hopefully is face to face. But you just got used to it, and everyone kind of caught up with the tech. Yeah. And now we can work remotely. So why not?
The other thing that always comes up, I always talk about working from home. And I have to say, most people I talk to are from a recruitment business that are in the office. We're always in the office. The other thing that comes up is AI, and how it's going to destroy the world or make it a better place, and everything kind of in between. What impacts have you seen, if any? Well, I don't know, but what have you seen within the beauty industry and recruitment?
There's lots. I think tech generally has evolved a lot. So there's a lot happening with just taking and looking at the skin. There's individual things that people want, and you can be scanned and, okay, yes, you need this product or that product. That wasn't around 10 years ago. So tech in the industry is growing. Automation, robotics, that the manufacturing plants are incredible now. The robotics is fascinating. And those types of roles weren't really around in our industry. Maybe in car manufacturing. If you go to a car manufacturing site, beauty manufacturing looks a bit like that now. It is like a pit stop, and everything is organised. The whole automation for us internally is becoming more important. We were chatting about this a little bit earlier, but you have to embrace it. You can't stand still. You've got to look at what's out there, but the human touch is still very, very important. And just the world doesn't stand still. And I think if you stand still, the world will overtake you.
Get left behind really
absolutely, you've got to move with it. And going back many years, just looking from a woman in a household, you know, we didn't have washing machines, we didn't have dishwashers, we didn't have hoovers. And yet we're still all really busy. Automation is here, and it's going to add, and we're going to do things slightly differently. It's not going to make us all redundant.
When
it's
are we
really
going to get
not.
all that time back that we can promise,
Wouldn't it be nice?
Just on you kind of on that note, from a diversity point of view, sustainability point of view, again in the world, lots have been kind of, you know, there's lots of movement within that. You've seen a lot of D&I programs being shut down and stuff. How has that impacted, you know, the beauty market? You just talked about a couple of you know, men's products, you know, which you go back numbers of years, you know, men didn't moisturise. You know, that was not something that men did.
They're still struggling a bit with that. You really should, though. It makes a big difference.
Well, I mean, I try every day. It's why I look so, you know, bald. But yeah, how is that impacting the market?
So diversity, I think for many initially was all around the men and women and the split there, and the glass ceiling that women couldn't push into these senior roles. We've never had that in our industry. The beauty industry has always had amazing role models, women that are running businesses and pushing everything and doing exceptionally well. So we've had that. It's a great industry to be a woman, but we also have a lot of guys in the industry as well. So the male-female divide has never been a problem. It's a good place to work. And then if you think about the products as a consumer, there's so many different types of consumers out there. So we need every type of consumer within a business to help develop those products for them. So the whole diversity thing has always been pretty good. The big issue for me, not so much around Brexit, but just general with visas, it's a huge, huge nightmare. I believe that anyone should be able to work anywhere, and we should all be able to move easily around the world. But I don't think governments agree on that, and there's issues around tax and everything else. But visa sponsorship is a big thing, and again, that's our job as a recruiter to help companies open their eyes and push to actually it's not that much of a problem once you get through it. And I think all companies should be able to sponsor easily, cheaply, quickly, and then the individual sponsorship should be a lot, again, quicker, easier, cheaper. So that is a problem. Sustainability you mentioned, so this is a big thing for us. Most people know that plastics is a big thing, the plastic bags, plastic packaging, single-use packaging. It's not just about plastics, it's about the whole supply chain, where something is manufactured, how it's delivered, how it's put together, and how it's then recycled or disposed of at the end of its life. So sustainability is a big area, and there are new and interesting roles around all of that. It's a good time to be interested in the planet, I think, and most consumers are.
The whole kind of net zero thing has again, like a lot of these things, it kind of seems to go up and down in terms of like the severity of which it's gonna happen.
It's important to everyone to a point that it's not costing you so much. And once you start paying too much to do the right thing, then it becomes a problem. And then people go to a cheaper product, and it's not quite so sustainable.
It's a balance, isn't it?
It is, like
balance.
life.
You know, you think about green energy, and there's obviously lots of conversation about that. A little tangent coming here, but it's the balance between, you want green energy, you don't want to be burning fossil fuels to heat your home, but there's a point in which you go, well, I don't want it that much, because of, and where that point is, are we prepared to pay 10% more, 5% more, 20% more?
In our industry, people often want naturals, but then there's this whole debate with not enough space. Should we be growing something for fragrance or for a skincare product when we can't actually grow enough food?
Yeah.
So naturals is an interesting debate as well. And then people want high tech, they want results, they want ingredients that are really going to make a difference. The packaging, this debate between glass and plastic, what's right, what's wrong, there is no simple answer to any of it.
Yeah.
Shipping water around the world, you make a product and ship it the other side of the world. We have all these dry products and non-water products, which are interesting but don't necessarily work as well as something that's been formulated and manufactured in a lab or in a factory.
Yeah.
There was something actually in Bologna recently, a shampoo with actives. So you start with your basic product and then you choose what bits you want and add that in. So it's a different concept with less waste. There's always ideas.
It's really interesting, isn't it, to try and kind of then, you mentioned about the conversation with glass and plastic. Is that,
honestly, there is no simple answer. Because
should
something,
you be using plastic,
there is no. You're not going to draw me on it. There is no simple answer.
But that's the question that people. Some people say it should be plastic.
Yeah.
Others saying it should be glass.
Yeah. That there's a huge anti-plastic thing, but actually plastic is great. It lasts. It's solid, and it lasts a long time. And the cost of it is very good. But yeah, some people don't want anything to do with plastic.
Yeah.
But you can't put a shampoo in a paper bag and expect it to last for 2 years, 6 months.
Again, it's that
shampoo
trade-off between. I think when we first met, I probably had quite a bit more hair actually. But so it's a trade-off between what we want and what we think is right.
Money and profit is always going to come down to
everything.
Yeah, it does. If you can't afford something, I think this is another thing in our industry. People can create a great product, but create a product that actually can sell and make a profit. That's the clever bit, because just doing something smart and lovely and beautiful, it's not enough.
Yeah.
It's got to be cost effective. It's got to return a profit.
Can anyone start? I'm not thinking about starting a shampoo business, but can anyone start that?
I think ultimately anyone can do anything, can't they? I years ago literally made things at the kitchen sink and built a business around that.
Because you see that a lot in terms of businesses that start around the kitchen table. We started making soaps, or we started making, whatever.
There's a lot of regulations within our industry. There's a lot of global regulations, different regs in different parts of the world, and you've got to get into that. But a lot of things that you might buy online are not well made, and they're not regulated, and they're not very safe, and you should be a bit careful. But anyone can start a business.
My daughter makes lots of shampoo. She puts them all together, and then we've got shampoo. So I was like, oh, okay, put a package on that, and away we go.
Yeah,
maybe not. But I found some coffee in some mouthwash the other day. So that's if you speak to your clients, if they're ever interested in coffee mouthwash,
that's something your daughter can produce.
She can make it. Yeah, she made that. If I'm coming to you now and I say I want to get into the industry, I've got my chemistry degree or whatever it is, what would I need to do? What skills do I need to have? What experience should I need to try and... What are people looking for now?
So I think we've used the word passion quite a lot, and it really is important. You cannot work in this industry if you don't have passion for product, and also that desire to help people and to help people feel good. And I think when you're interviewing someone, everyone is a bit different, and not everyone is as loud as others. That doesn't mean they don't have the passion and they want to make something. It's a bit like being a chef and creating a meal and putting nice ingredients together. People get excited about the different chemistry and the chemicals that they can put into something. So we're always looking for passion. We're looking for creativity, innovation and communication. I think within that concept to shelf that we talked about, there's so many different departments, so many different people, and being technical, being super bright and having a chemistry degree is not enough. You've got to be able to talk about that and excite a consumer and other people in other departments. So the interest in the industry is huge. Community, collaboration, and being able to talk to everyone and bring everyone on that journey, that's really important as well.
Communication it spans pretty much every single industry, doesn't it? Being able to communicate to...
Yeah, and I think that's one of the issues with the problems we've had with the COVID and the lockdowns. There's a whole tranche of people that are kind of worried about leaving their house, and I've been walking around recently and you see people wearing masks, and you're like, why are you wearing a mask? They're concerned about catching something from a world that we've all lived in for millions of years, and we've all done okay. But yeah, we work across 4 main areas within Arthur Edwards. So we look at the technical roles, the supply chain and the operations roles, the sales and the marketing. They're the 4 main departments that work with putting a product together.
So you must have quite a good insight to different, because going back to right at the start, that's you're specialising in different sectors there within one industry. So you must see quite a range of people with different skills and qualities. So you must there must be different skills that people need for different one, or is it all kind of comes back to the passion, communication?
Well, I think the technical people are a little more reserved, but they still have the passion. The sales and marketing people without passion, they're never going to do their job. But what sets them apart is the understanding about the need to make a profit. A marketing person can create an amazing campaign, but if it doesn't give you the return on investment, this ROI that we talk about, then what's the point? No company's going to give you hundreds of thousands of pounds to spend on a big campaign that doesn't actually bring something in. So the number crunching is very important. And then with the operations and the supply chain, you've got to understand what's going in the world. If you don't know about what's happening with geopolitics and everything else, you don't know where you can produce products and where you can ship them safely. So you've got to be looking at the whole world.
Because the impact of that is so, it's so much more, I don't know what the word is, more definite, rather than if you're working in an IT business whereby you just need to make sure that this particular service stays online.
I think cosmetics is truly global, and that's why for us we work globally, because we have that interest in moving the products around. So some of our clients might be manufacturing and producing and creating ingredients in, say, the Netherlands, then they'll be manufacturing the finished product in Germany, selling it in Portugal. Everything is moving around.
Languages important?
Language is important. So within our team, Ana Filipa is Portuguese, so she speaks Portuguese and French and a bit of Italian. Global sales, the language skills are important. English is the business language, but if you're selling to France and you don't speak French, it's not going to go so well. So language skills are quite important, particularly in a sales role.
Networking. I mean, I think you're going to tell me how important. That's super important, based on the fact that you're wearing comfy shoes and never managed to get around the show that you've just been to.
Yeah, I think networking is hugely important in recruitment generally, in life generally. We have some great organisations within beauty. So we have the CEW, Cosmetic Executive Women. We have the BBC, not the BBC, but British Beauty Council, the Society of Cosmetic Scientists. We have the British Society of Perfumery. All these different organisations have events and lectures and things that are happening. And it's important to be a member and to be involved and to help. I sit on various committees and go to different events. So this afternoon I'm going up to a mentor event with the Society of Cosmetic Scientists, and I get involved with organising lectures and organising workshops and things with the different groups. So that's important.
And is networking in your industry would you say more important than your kind of standard recruitment networking kind of requirement?
I think, again, it goes back to me thinking of myself as a consultant and adding a value service to the beauty industry, not as a recruiter.
Yeah.
If you're a recruiter covering a dozen different industries, it might be quite tough to be a part of all of those industries.
Yeah.
But for us, we're in the cosmetics industry. This is what we do.
Yeah.
So we want to be networking within that. What I don't do so much of is network within recruitment industries.
Yes.
We're involved with training. We come to some of your wave events, which are always lovely.
Yeah,
the recruitment network, we're members of that, and we go to some of their events, and we do go to the occasional trade show that's all to do with recruitment.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan of that many recruiters, really.
I think, one of the things that most guests talk about is the importance of people buying from people, and you would expect that anyway. But I think that can be easily lost, especially if you're like in the position that you're in, and you're saying where you're kind of more of a industry guru, if you like, if I can say that, connecting people rather than just trying to hoik people out of one company and shove them into another.
I remember years ago going to a recruitment event, and somebody stood on stage and talked about how they were very good at new business, and they didn't go back to clients because their candidates never lasted. And he was proud. He was proud that he built this business to millions turnover by constantly attacking new clients with new business, putting in a candidate, and he didn't care if they dropped out, so long as it passed the rebate period.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can you be proud of that?
Sounds a bit bonkers.
But that's how a lot of recruitment kind of seems to be.
Yeah.
People don't seem to care. For us, it's about long-term relationships. Recruitment is always something that's left to the last minute, and there's always a need. And I think people want someone that can really help them, not just fill a hole and then walk away. It's about long-term relationships and working in partnership with the clients.
Eventually it comes back and bites you on the backside, doesn't it?
I think where you look at decent companies that have survived a long time, yes, but we've seen people in our industry come and go, and they cut down fees, they offer a quick service, but the quality is not there.
Yeah.
But the same as if you're buying a more expensive product and you're trying to save a bit of money, you buy a cheaper product, there's always a need for people like that.
There's a trade-off, isn't there?
Yeah.
You're always kind of compromising on something.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Yeah, that's. I think the idea of trying to create a long-term relationship, a long-term experience and reputation, for me, always wins out in the end.
It's like your business. Your business has been going for the same amount of time, a bit even longer than mine, I guess, because you were doing it when we first met.
Yeah.
So I think anyone that's been around for a long time is doing a good job.
Yeah.
And recruitment is something low entry level. Anyone can try it. People think it's going to be easy, but it's really not. It's tough. It's hard work.
It's a tough. Everyone seems to fall into it, don't they? They always fall into it, and then they sort of stay with it.
It's a great industry, and I think for me, combining the cosmetics with the recruitment, it's the service. It's providing something of real value, and it sounds really cheesy, but you are changing people's lives. You're really helping people in their life, and it's a great thing to do.
Kind of coming towards the end of our podcast, but if you were going to go back 10, 15, 20 years, what advice would you give to yourself? The whole kind of what if you knew now what you knew, then whatever it is, what I'm trying to say. What would you say back to yourself?
I think that there's lots of different things, and there's no one simple thing. I think some people expect too much too soon and too quickly. So I think work really hard, put in the hours, and be honest, be open, and do what you say. I think it's about being reliable, being resilient and getting the respect for yourself and respecting everyone else. You know, you see some people go through life and they treat certain people well and other people not so well. That's not what life is about. You've got to treat everyone well, and you've got to care about people and really just do what you say. You know, don't say you're going to give someone some feedback and then ghost them. Phone them. And recruitment, you have to make some tough calls, but those are the calls that matter. When you're telling a candidate they've got a job, it's great and it's really exciting, everyone's happy. But telling a candidate that they haven't got that job, that's the tough call to make, but that's the important one. And how you treat them. That's
I think maybe the kind of wanting the easy route, that's where that kind of comes from. I'll do the good stuff, but maybe not do the not so good, the not so good stuff. So you would tell yourself or whoever, work hard, be resilient. I'm guessing you're talking about being aware of your own personal brand. It's a bit of a buzzword, isn't it? But you know, being aware of your reputation, that it will, if you work hard, that reputation will come back. If you sort of shirk, then it won't. It
will come back as well.
Yes.
Reputation is huge. You've got to be reliable, resilient, and earn that respect for sure. And they talk about the 3 R's, don't they, in schooling: reading, writing, and arithmetic. So reading, writing, arithmetic. We talk about reduce, reuse, recycle. That's big in the beauty world and environmentally generally. And then resilient, reliable, respect. I think those 3 R's are pretty important words.
I always wondered about the whole 3 R's, you know, reading, writing, then arithmetic. Like the irony of that was always quite interesting. But
it's basics, isn't it? It's just basically being decent,
good human beings,
treating people as you would want to be treated, and just caring about people. I think recruitment gets a bad name because a lot of people think it's easy money. And it can be for some people for a short period of time, but it's not. It's damn hard work, and you've got to really care about people.
Most people I talk to will, you know, reference, you know, an easy fee that they earn at one point, and everyone's got that story. But for every one easy fee they earn, they've got 10 examples of really hard fees that, you know, weren't as much as they should have been, that, you know, didn't happen as quick and easy as they should. But a lot of people can kind of just go, well, it was only, you know, that was really easy, you know, but that's few and far between. It's not just faxing a CV over.
No, it's not that straightforward. You've really got to know your market. You've got to be able to look at the information and make some quick decisions. We were talking earlier about the volume of applications. Everyone thinks they can work in beauty, and we get hundreds and hundreds of responses to a job. So you've got to quickly make those decisions. You've got to know the market, know where to find the talent. And when someone comes to you and needs something quickly, because you know that industry, then you can find them a quick response.
I'm conscious I'm getting to here, but like, do clients, are they becoming more sophisticated in their recruitment approach?
I think some are, and we see it's a wave, for pardon the pun, but you see a lot of internal talent people, they come and go. At the moment, we've been advertising 2 talent roles, one a talent more recruiter, one more HR. We've had huge applications, which means that internal talent people are being made redundant. So then they're coming back to agency. So we never mind. We work very closely with internal teams. Someone like an Estee Lauder, they have big internal teams, but they still use us for very niche, very specific roles. We know we're not going to do their in-store staff, and we wouldn't want to do that. But you've got to work closely with them. Sometimes they're too automated. They use some sort of automation, some sort of tech that will screen the CVs. They'll miss out on people that actually are really good just because they haven't ticked a specific box in an application. So then it comes back to knowledge and understanding and knowing your market and knowing your people and knowing the companies and really using that network.
And you're going to have the experience that some of the internal ones also don't have, right?
Yeah,
only been in
there's some great ones. I work closely with them. I'm not going to say they're not great, but there's some that really, they don't know what they're doing and they don't know the industry.
Because they're learning. They're learning themselves, and they're going through that process. They would presumably lean on your experience and knowledge to help them.
And I guess that's the other thing when you look back and you give advice is keep open and keep learning. Some people think that they know everything when they've passed their degree. It's really not about that. You're constantly learning every day, pivoting and changing as the world and the industry does. Yeah.
It's the start for them, but the end for us.
Yeah.
That's been great. Thank you so much for coming on.
Good to chat.
Really, really interesting. I love finding out about the different industries, because everything is so different. So really appreciate you coming on to our podcast. Thank you.
Well, it's great to be here. It's interesting to listen to the podcast as well.
Well, good.
So thank you.
Thank you.